conditioning about 3 months before the season starts. Go around the barrels a couple times, and then it's just mainly a lot of conditioning. I go to the gym twice a day, run a mile every day, try to keep myself in shape. That's pretty much it. All horses all the time.
When Zoey was about 4 years old, we got the movie The Black Stallion, and after she watched that movie, it was everything was horses. If it didn't have a horse on it, she didn't want it. We lived in a neighborhood where they had a recreational facility, and they would offer different classes and stuff, and they offered a horse riding lessons in the summer, so I thought, well, I'll just put her in it. So that's what got her started, and then she just never stopped taking lessons after that for years. I mean, there's no way we could have took her out of it. It was like her whole existence.
Her whole,
seriously.
When she was little, she's so tiny, and they put her on those horses, and she you fell off a couple of times.
Few. Got her foot stepped on.
Been kicked in the ribs. I've been bit. So riding horses, I've definitely been injured a lot. I would say a majority of my life I've been injured. But the worst injury I've ever had was back in 2006. I was doing a queen contest for the PWBA. I was 6 years old and I was running barrels. The horse that I had at the time, we did not get along. We were not fans of each other. And he ended up bucking me off and stepping on me, and he cracked 2 vertebrae in my spine that I didn't find out for about like 4 years, 5 years after that. That one was pretty gnarly. I'm still in a lot of pain from that one. And then I've been kicked, stepped on, bit, thrown off. Pretty much everything you can think of has happened more than once. But yeah, that would have to be the worst one.
Yeah, I remember I ran out there and I checked you all over and picked you up, and I was going to carry you back over there with us, and then we ended up putting you back up on the horse, and away you went.
Finished.
I started showing Western pleasure horses, and that's basically just shows to showcase the horse specifically. And I did that all the way up until I was probably about 12, 13. And then that's when I bought Eddy, and that's when I switched to barrel racing and rodeo. My biggest accomplishment would have to be 2016 when I went to the California Gymkhana Association state finals, and I ended up winning a state championship title along with, I was 3rd in the state for the match races. That was a lot of fun. So they have like these races at the end of the day where they take the top 10 to 15 competitors, and then they split the arena in half and they go head to head against each other to win money. And I made it all the way, and then I lost. But that was still pretty cool. That was still a big accomplishment for me. And then I moved to a little tiny town in Northern California when I graduated. And I went to Feather River College. I was on their rodeo team. We had a lot of fun doing that. But I train horses a little bit different than they do, so it wasn't really working out for me. And so I moved home and I got a job working for Doug Williamson Champion Cow Horses. That was really cool. He trains rein cow horses, and he's one of the best ever. It was really an awesome opportunity to get to work for him, get to learn a little bit from him. When I was training consistently, it was probably 8 to 9 hours a day at the barn on top of school. And those are the people you hang out with. Those are your friends. So it's one big happy family. And it's definitely a way of life. So my favorite thing about rodeo would probably just have to be the camaraderie between everybody. And it's, once we're in the arena, we're like opponents, but once we're out, we're all just a family, and we all have a really good time, and it's a very family-friendly atmosphere, and everybody just goes out there to have fun. You know, like that's our escape from the real world for the weekend, and that's what we all do to just get away. And my least favorite thing would have to be the expenses and the sitting in the car, traveling for hours and hours and hours and hours. Another one of my least favorites would definitely have to be packing up your entire barn, moving it somewhere for the weekend, and then moving it all back home when you're done. Like, I don't do it for a living, you know what I mean? That there's people that that's all they do, that's all their family's done, that's all generations before them and before them and before them, that's all they've ever done, so that's all they ever know. When my family wasn't like that, I wasn't raised in a rodeo family, so that definitely makes it a little bit different.
Yeah, before she started riding, and we had never been around horses that much, you know, we didn't really know very much about them, so it was kind of a learning experience for all of us.
Yeah.
Thank God we had good teachers.
January of 2013, we purchased Eddy, and she was an abuse case, actually. She was probably about 450 pounds underweight when I bought her. She didn't know anything at all. She knew how to stop, go, left, right, back up. That was about it. And then we brought her here February 9th of 2013, and then it was 365 days a year for 5 years to get her actually going, get her trained. It was a lot of just doing circles, a lot of slow work. I didn't put her on the pattern probably for about a year until after I bought her. And we just worked on getting her, filling in all the holes, the training that she should have had when she was a baby that she didn't get. So I spent a lot of time just going through all the groundwork, all of the slow work, just doing all of that. And then I finally put her on the pattern. She stuck to it like a fishy. When I got her, she was extremely blown up. And she still has little moments where she's, you know, a little crazy, but you know, you gotta put up with the little quirks, because they're a living, breathing thing too. They have personalities, and this is what you gotta do. If I had $1 for every time I tried to convince my mom to let me sell that horse, I'd be rich. But I'm so glad that I didn't. She turned out to be such a blessing, and I'm so thankful to have her, and I wouldn't trade her for the world. She's worth her weight in gold. I had somebody offer me $30,000 cash for her one time, and I said no. She's just worth way more than that. She's priceless. That is my best friend. She's been there for me through everything. She's been my rock through a lot. She's honestly probably what's kept me sane. So horses are definitely like a way of life.
It's been fun.
A lot of long weekends.
It's been fun. Get to go watch her, and she got better and better and started winning. She trained her horse herself, which is like unheard of. And she took pointers from other people, and she took lessons on barrel racing, but she trained her herself. Nobody ever got on her and taught her how to do anything, so he did it all. So that was really an accomplishment for her.
Yep.
Yeah, it made us proud.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really have the funds to go out and buy a $40,000 finished horse. I had to make a finished horse. So that was definitely an obstacle, but it was totally worth it. And now I have that experience under my belt, so I don't really consider that necessarily an obstacle. It was pretty tough, but it was definitely worth it in the long run, because now if I need to do it again, I have the knowledge to do that. When the kids that, you know, just get handed the finished horse and hop on and go, they can't train a horse if they need to, you know. My entire plan is to make it to where I can train horses for a living, and I can just deal with horses all day. There's better ways to make a living, but there's no better way to live.